Louis, thank you so much for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
I want to get started with the Franklin Park Defenders. Who are they and what are your goals?
Well, the Franklin Park Defenders is a conglomeration of neighborhood groups and organizations and individuals and the Olmsted Conservancy organizations that are committed to maintaining Franklin Park, the Olmsted legacy, and to making sure that public access to Franklin Park and its resources remain unchanged.
And a few weeks ago, we actually had the opportunity to share a story of several members of Franklin Park Defenders contesting the plans happening over at White Stadium. Can you talk about why there's been such resistance from the community members?
Well, in the beginning, the community, Garrison Tribe Neighborhood Association, of which I'm affiliated, we came in with open eyes and open arms, basically to say we're interested in seeing White Stadium improved. That is our commitment for the last 44 years to see White Stadium to fulfill its function of serving the children in the Boston Public Schools. This program that came in, the soccer league, Unity Soccer League, says we want to do something in White Stadium, but they didn't say clearly what it was. And then they said this would be tied into the Boston Public Schools, and they didn't say clearly what it was. And so then we started asking questions. Well, we're very much committed to seeing White Stadium improve, but we need to know what all the impacts are going to be. And so we came together and said, well, you've not thought this thing through very well. You've not answered the questions about access and general purpose. You've not answered the questions about transportation. You've not given us information to how it will impact programs that exist in the park, on a regular basis, how it will impact the zoo. So our concerns then became an issue, and because they weren't being answered, we took another posture which says we'll challenge it until we can get that information.
And you yourself, you have a background in city urban planning. Would you care talking more about your background?
Well, I left the quiet little town of Brooklyn, New York, and came here in 1972. I came here to study senior regional planning and urban design at Harvard School of Design. After 2 years there, I stopped doing schoolwork and came out into the community and started working with groups and organizations in Roxbury. I lived within 3 blocks of where I was when I came to Boston in 1972, working on community organization issues, most important, the stopping of I-95 that they wanted to send through Roxbury, and that challenged me to stop asking questions and get more involved in finding answers.
And in terms of the path forward, why is it important to preserve Franklin Park?
It's critical to preserve Franklin Park. It's not just important. It's critical to the quality of life of the people in the city of Boston. First, Franklin Park is an Olmsted creation from 1875. It is a jewel. It's the center jewel of his emerald necklace that runs from the Back Bay Fens all the way out through Columbia Road and out to the fort out there. But it's a very important aspect of our historical society, of the history of Boston. It's the greening of space that made it available for people to say there will be a respite for people trying to get away from the doldrums of work and transportation and city noise, that within the context of the urban community, there's a place they can go to enjoy themselves. So it's critical to keep it open and accessible for the public in general. It's critical that our children and our students, have a place they can go to and enjoy themselves, and even have a place for entertainment. But the most important part of it is, it's the legacy of Boston, and it's such an important part of the heritage of this city.
And the city has said that they're going to move forward with the plans to essentially rehabilitate White Stadium, bring in a professional soccer team. In what ways are you looking to work with the city to make sure that this plan is satisfactory to everyone?
Well, from the very beginning, we were committed as a neighborhood association because we are one of the immediate abutters. The next immediate abutter would be in Jamaica Plain. But we agreed to work with them to hear what they had to offer. One is because we're committed to having White Stadium improved after 38 years of neglect. And second, because any opportunity that we have to bring challenge and benefits to the people of the community makes sense. What we were not ready for was the lack of thoroughness on the part of the planning coming from the soccer league and, of course, Boston Public Schools. They presented nothing, and as of date, they've presented very little, except they had a commitment to try to destroy part of the what is the a historical piece of property in White Stadium to take down part of the wall and put in new structures. They told us, but they didn't show us any plans. They didn't say how that was going to impact the community, how that was going to impact activities on the playstead, and what would happen. And so as we learned more about it coming from the soccer league and less from Boston Public Schools, we had concerns that we had to stop the process for a little bit to get clarifications, but we still don't have all the clarification necessary.
And last that we had heard, Franklin Park Defenders had actually put forth a lawsuit. Can you talk about the current state of where things are now?
The Franklin Park Defenders felt that they were not getting the type of response that they needed. We were getting people, they were responding, the Unity Soccer League was giving us information, but wasn't comprehensive. It was clear that they didn't do the type of diligence necessary to say that they had a comprehensive plan. And the Boston Public Schools was giving us even less. And so in defense of Franklin Park, in defense of all of Franklin Park, because there are other activities going on, whether it's Shattuck Hospital or the Blue Hill Avenue changes for Piedmont Square, there were changes that are taking place that will have an impact on the quality of life for everyone who uses the park and the people who live around the park. So we thought a lawsuit was necessary to slow the process down, to get accurate and detailed information as to what it is that the City of Boston Public School wants to do and what the Unity Soccer League wants to do. And to a large extent, we've basically were thwarted in our process to get them to slow down completely. The judge didn't feel it was necessary to say that the city shouldn't be able to tear down a structure without giving us information as to what would take its place. I thought that was a very interesting ruling by Judge Ellis, and I still think it's very interesting that she would use the defense of the group that we were basically suing to say she supports the idea that this project move forward. But what's even more interesting is that the residents of Jamaica Plain and the residents of Roxbury and now Dorchester and Mattapan are saying we have concerns that they don't have a comprehensive plan from the City of Boston Public Schools. And of course, the Soccer League has given us information, really nice pictures, but they're not comprehensive. There's still questions as to what's going to happen with the sports activities for our students, and then how much of the playstead, which is outside of White Stadium footprint, is going to be utilized for activities that's not necessarily related to public general use.
And for our viewers who are noticing a lot of changes in their neighborhoods in Roxbury and Dorchester, from what's going on at the Franklin Playstead to maybe what's going on Cummins Highway with the train that's being inserted there, what do you say to residents who feel powerless about the changes that are happening around them in their communities?
I say to all residents, don't stop fighting. Don't stop asking questions and being a part of your community. You pay taxes, number one, but you raise a family here and children. And we are the community. We are the people who make the difference. And it's not the City of Boston. It's the leadership in the City of Boston. Right now, it's the mayor who's making decisions as to what should happen and not listening to the constituents that elected her. And I think that's a very poor choice to make when you know that we are the people that make your life what it is. But I think that we have to look and work with our city councilors and our state representatives and even our Congress people to get the word that it's important that we be considered involved. And we asked the city, and throughout the process when we were looking at BPDA and of course the agencies of the state, talk with the community before you decide that this is a good idea, and then it's less difficult to move those ideas forward.
And how can our viewers learn more about Franklin Park Defenders and get involved?
They can go online and find the Franklin Park Defenders. They can go to the Olmsted Conservancy. They can get in touch with Garrison Trotter. They all on the internet, and we all have newsletters and information that's available. But they can also just walk over to the park at any time and we'll find people who are there who have information as to what's going on. Contact your state representatives and your city councilors. We've been very lucky to have State Representative Worrell and City Councilor Mejia and City Councilor Anderson and Rootsey and the rest of them, City Councilor Rootsey, who's the president, to be concerned and involved and engaged. And I think that makes a difference. It can be challenging because I know it's difficult if you have to work all day, sometimes 2 jobs of work and go to school, and if you have children, but it's critical for the quality of life because the changes that get made, they're not temporary changes. They're changes that will last throughout your lifetime, at least the lifetime of your children.
Powerful words to end on. Louis Elisa, president of the Garrison Trotter Neighborhood Association and member of Franklin Park Defenders, thank you so much for your time and your insights today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.